Libra, 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 Libra. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Crypto Bobby. I hope you are having a great day, great night, wherever you are watching or listening in from. And did you know that Facebook has announced a cryptocurrency within the past 48 hours? You probably didn't know that, did you? It's this new thing called Libra. You probably haven't heard of it. But guess what? I've been away for a little bit, so we're going to talk about it anyway. Before we hop into our conversation about the world's most trusted company and the world's most now trusted cryptocurrency, if you guys aren't familiar with Lolly, you need to check it out. One of the best ways to stack sats and earn free Bitcoin is by shopping like you normally do. If you're going to do it anyway, you might as well earn Bitcoin back. All you need to do is download the Lolly Chrome extension at cryptobobby.com/Lolly. And from there, you can earn Bitcoin back while shopping at places like Priceline when you're booking a hotel, booking.com, Bonobos, jet.com, Walmart, all of those places. Go to cryptobobby.com/Lolly, download the Chrome extension, and earn Bitcoin for doing things you do on a daily basis anyway. So unless you took a 24-hour nap yesterday, which if you did, I'd be pretty jealous because a lot of the conversation was kind of obnoxious and crazy. But if you took a 24-hour nap, you might not have heard of this. If you didn't, if you were on Twitter, if you were on TV, if you were reading anything online whatsoever in regards to cryptocurrency, you absolutely 100% saw this. And the news is Facebook is announcing a cryptocurrency that they are launching with essentially a consortium of companies, a number of prominent, very, very prominent companies, and it is called Libra. Now, what is Libra? Well, Facebook released an entire white paper yesterday with details and documentation as far as what exactly Libra is, as well as the kind of technology associated with that and some documentation, developer tools for people to start trying out on testnet as well. Now, naturally, the conversation evolved to what is this cryptocurrency? Who is it going to beat? Who is it competitive against? And what's the situation here? Why is Facebook doing this? And is this bad for Bitcoin? That was a big question. Is this competitive against Bitcoin? Is it bad for Bitcoin? Or is this good for Bitcoin? And the answer to is this good for Bitcoin, is Facebook good, is the Libra coin good for Bitcoin, really boils down to two questions you have to answer yourself. Number one, do you own Bitcoin? If you own Bitcoin, everybody that owns Bitcoin considers this to be good for Bitcoin. If you don't own Bitcoin, the answer is, why, yes, this is terrible for Bitcoin because this is going to compete with Bitcoin and this is going to be bad for Bitcoin. Now, in Facebook's own words, this is David Marcus, who is the co-creator of Libra, was a exec at PayPal and has been at Facebook for like 5+ years, ran Messenger and a bunch of other things, but came to Facebook from PayPal. And this is what he said. So David Marcus says, many want to pit Libra versus Bitcoin. In my mind, these two are not in the same category. Bitcoin is a decorrelated investment asset. Libra is designed to be a stable medium of exchange. I have been and remain a fan of Bitcoin, but for very different purposes. Now, this is interesting because it goes to the core of what Bitcoin is and what a lot of different cryptocurrencies are and what this is competing against. This is competing against Facebook's Libra coin is trying to be a medium of exchange or a cryptocurrency that is used in peer-to-peer payments. Facebook is basically coming out and saying we don't see Bitcoin as a threat against what we are doing, in the sense that we believe Bitcoin is really the digital gold. We think Bitcoin is an investment and not something that most people are going to use to exchange between two parties. It is more along the lines of a digital gold. And while that may be true, it is very competitive against other cryptocurrencies as well, or depending upon who you are, if you're Roger Ver or some of the other, very staunch Bitcoin Cash type advocates, where you look at the title of the Bitcoin white paper, a peer-to-peer electronic cash, you would view this statement as directly competitive for what Libra is trying to do to what Facebook is trying to do. Now, when I look at a lot of what's happening with Facebook and with Libra, a lot of this stuff is really, really too early to call, in my opinion. we haven't seen enough information about what they're building. We haven't seen really who the kind of main core use case is. A couple of the big things that I will say before getting into the regulatory component, which is what I think is really interesting, but a couple of the big things. Number one, this is supposed to be essentially a stable coin. You are having a basket of the Libra coin is backed by a basket of the US dollar and maybe the euro and the yen and a variety of government-backed fiat. So it is supposed to be stable. It's supposed to be, I don't know if it's pegged to $1 or if it's just pegged to 1 Libra as 1 Libra, but it's supposed to be stable in value. It's supposed to be stable. Now, when you look at cryptocurrency, in my opinion, what is the biggest use case for cryptocurrency right now? Well, the biggest use case for cryptocurrency is speculation. Whether or not people want to admit it, I still think 90+% of the cryptocurrency market is the way it is because of speculation, and it is still a majority speculative asset. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that there aren't people that use cryptocurrency for other kind of purposes, whether it's medium of exchange or buying goods or things like that. But for the most part, it is still a very speculative industry. And Facebook has very much made it clear that they are going after emerging markets, which I think is interesting because that has been, in a lot of respects, what many people have spoken about when you look at cryptocurrency's big use case since I got into the industry in 2013. I remember watching videos of Andreas Antonopoulos at restaurants on a crappy flip phone camera talking about how the value of potentially remittances and sending money cross borders and all of those types of scenarios. That sounds a lot like what Facebook is going after with this, is a way to essentially transact, and in the United States or in Europe or in Asia or specific parts of Asia, it's probably not that hard to send money to one person. I know not everybody listening is in the United States, but Venmo is pretty damn easy to use. There's a lot of different things you can use to transact and send money between each other, even with banks, things like Zelle and other components with that. In third world countries, that's obviously a lot more difficult, and it's a lot more of a challenge, and Facebook is trying to go for that. Will they actually be able to accomplish that? I don't know. I don't think that the technology has been the issue in the past. I think, for the most part, you have all these developing and third world emerging economies with really growing access to technology, cell phones, things like that, smartphones. The problem of potentially downloading a cryptocurrency wallet isn't necessarily the issue. I think the issue is the on and the off ramps. You have different fiat currencies in all of these jurisdictions. It's not so hard to once you're in the cryptocurrency ecosystem to function around. The difficult part, I think, is getting into the cryptocurrency ecosystem. Now, maybe Facebook has that edge because they have so many users. The biggest thing for Facebook right now is, and really I think the only thing, in my personal opinion, is Facebook's user base and the ability to roll this out to billions of people. When you look at the technology, there are certain flavors of what they're rolling out that take kind of the best of different elements of other crypto projects. But the big differentiator that Facebook obviously has is they have billions of users, and nobody else in the cryptocurrency ecosystem has that. It's not even close. They don't have the level of user base and the ability to roll that out in the massive name that Facebook has. But outside of that, the other differentiators aren't that many. However, when you think about what are big differentiators, what are big things to push a project or a cryptocurrency forward, that's a pretty big deal and something that is absolutely notable for sure. But when you think about how certain things have happened with Facebook in the past, Google, other companies as well, just because you have billions of users doesn't mean something's going to be successful. So when I look at Libra, Facebook had rolled out Facebook credits in the past. It didn't work. Google, do you remember Google Plus? Google Plus was going to kill Facebook. It failed and flopped spectacularly. So just because you have billions of users to throw at a problem, it doesn't always mean you're going to address that problem. And it doesn't always mean it doesn't always mean that it will succeed. So that's something you absolutely want to consider as well. When I look at Facebook personally, and I'm sure a lot of you guys share this opinion, I don't trust Facebook as far as I could throw a bottle of Sweet Baby Ray's, Mark Zuckerberg's favorite barbecue sauce.
Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce. That is going on the ribs.
Sweet Baby Ray's.
Sweet Baby Ray's. The Sweet Baby Ray's. Sweet Baby Ray's is very good.
Sweet Baby Ray's.
Sweet Baby Ray's. We have just applied the Sweet Baby Ray's. Sweet Baby Ray's. Sweet Baby Ray's. Maybe throw some Sweet Baby Ray's on the ribs and take it from there. She's waiting for her ribs. I mean, she knows what's coming, and Sweet Baby Ray's.
And there's a lot of reasons for that. And I think there are many, many times in the past where people have proven, Facebook is not a company that is necessarily to be trusted. However, one of the interesting things, and I think it's funny to see, and it's kind of awesome as well, is Facebook now has regulators absolutely shitting their pants. From the perspective of the regulatory bodies in Europe, as well as in the United States, regulators have come out within 24 hours basically attacking the idea of Libra, attacking Facebook, and it is fascinating to watch, and I also think it could potentially be a positive for the industry. So why do I say that? Well, when you look at who has been defending the cryptocurrency industry so far, who has it been? It's Kin. It's a company that did a $100 million ICO, and they have $5 million in a legal fund to go after the SEC with the whole defendcrypto.org movement, or whatever we want to call it. Or you can have Facebook with $40 billion in cash on hand, making a ton of freaking money, a company worth $500 billion to fight toe-to-toe with the government. Now, would they have the best intentions in mind? I have no clue. But I would rather have Facebook fight the government than I'd rather have Kin fight the government, because Facebook is much more likely to win. And perhaps it's in Facebook's best interest to actually advance the industry a little bit further and push things forward a little bit further. But when you look at the conversations from the government and the quotes that have come out, it is absolutely hysterical. In Europe, you had central bankers that said it is out of the question that Libra become a sovereign currency. It can't, and it must not happen. They also accused it of potentially becoming a shadow bank and causing regulators to be on high alert. In the US, you had Maxine Waters say and request that Facebook agree to halt any movement forward on developing a cryptocurrency until Congress and regulators have the opportunity to examine these issues and take action. So when you look at it, you basically have people in France, you have people in the United States, you had people throughout the EU, haven't heard much about Asia, but you have people kind of all over the place instantly going after Facebook for what they were doing, saying it was an intrusion, it was bad, it was going to be terrible. And as I see this and as I look at what's happening with this issue on Facebook, I kind of love to see it, actually. I like seeing regulators squirm and freaking out because, for one part, first of all, I don't want Facebook to have more control. I think that that's outrageous. I don't really like Facebook. I don't really use Facebook. I don't want Facebook to have more control. But seeing the reaction from central bankers and from regulators when they fear losing control is actually pretty hysterical, looking at it and seeing how just up in arms they get. And to that point, they have already scheduled, this just happened, but this is Haley on Twitter. She said there is a Senate Banking Committee that is already has been scheduled. They're holding a hearing on Facebook's crypto plans on July 16th. Pretty incredible. It's how fast the world, how fast the government of the United States, the EU, central bankers are freaking out in just rapid succession. Now, one of the things you need to think about as well is a lot of times people do either give Bitcoin shit or they look at Bitcoin and they say, you know what, this is something that is, it's not fast enough. It's it's not good enough. There's better alternatives, and there's better ways to kind of invest your money or to utilize cryptocurrency. And that might be true in some respects. There might be faster cryptocurrencies. There might be cryptocurrencies that you could do more on. You could have a smart contract platform. You could do whatever on. However, when you look at all of them, Facebook is immediately getting called in front of Congress and having basically the verbal equivalent of a cease and desist from central bankers all over the place. There's nobody to send a cease and desist letter to at Bitcoin. There is no Bitcoin CEO. There is no one person. There is no one group that you can look at with Bitcoin to yell at, to do bad things. Bitcoin is, while a lot of people say Bitcoin's not decentralized, miners, yada, 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 Bitcoin is pretty sufficiently decentralized to the point where a lot of the issues that are occurring right now with Facebook, Bitcoin has never dealt with because there has not really been one central authority or central individual that you could very accurately point to enforce action on with Bitcoin. And I do think that what you're seeing with this stuff with Libra and Facebook already in less than 48 hours, this level of scrutiny, Bitcoin doesn't face that because it is actually legitimately decentralized. And a lot of the other, Facebook's Libra project certainly can't say that. And a lot of the other cryptocurrency projects out there as well really can't say that either. Now, I'm not going to give some type of definitive answer as far as, is this good for Bitcoin? Is this good for cryptocurrency? Is this bad? Who knows? I don't know. You don't know either. And anybody speculating one way or another really doesn't know. There is still a possibility that this thing never launches, that regulators go absolutely apeshit. It doesn't launch. It never happens. It was just a beautiful flashing pie in the sky that just never actually came to fruition. We'll have to see. What am I watching? I'm pretty eager to see how Facebook can battle these regulators, because I do think it's not even against cryptocurrency. It's that regulators and people in governments don't like Facebook. And this is an easy thing to go after and an easy way for them to say, hey, we're standing strong for the little man because this Facebook shouldn't get more control. Where in reality, yeah, Facebook's probably getting more control, and I personally wouldn't trust it. I wouldn't put money in this stuff. I personally wouldn't trust it, but it's not that Facebook is getting more control. It's that central banks and governments are losing control, and that's the problem. They don't want to lose control ever. And unfortunately for them, the cat's out of the bag on the issue of cryptocurrency, and whether or not it's Facebook, whether or not it's Bitcoin, whether or not it's some other cryptocurrency in the future, day by day, governments and central banks will begin to lose control over their kind of tightening strength on monetary policy, which personally I think is a good thing. So we'll see how that plays out in the long run. Outside of that, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and this podcast. Apologies for being out of the office for a few days here, but I am back with content for the rest of the week. So stay tuned on that. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, that like button. Crypto Bobby signing out. Hope you have a good one. Peace. Hope you have a good one.